Here we are.
Yay.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Tonight we have a book launch celebrating Ross White, and I am so excited. The book is Charm Offensive, and he doesn't even have a copy. That's how sold out this book is. But I've been assured that new copies have come, and I have put his website into the chat section so you can reach out to Ross to ask for an autographed copy of Charm Offensive. I'm going to do a little bio, and then I'm going to turn it right over. If you'd like to read for open mic, send me a message, or, as it gets closer to open mic, I'll ask again. So don't worry, we will have enough time for everybody. Ross has a wicked, great sense of humor, fabulous poet, and does a ton of other stuff. You got that person in? Thank you. Thank you, Karen. This is why co-pilots are so good. Ross White is the author of Charm Offensive, which was a winner of the Sexton Prize for Poetry, and 3 chapbooks: Valley of Want, How We Came Upon the Colony, and The Polite Society. He is the director of Bull City Press, an independent publisher of poetry, fiction, and nonfiction, where he hosts the Chapbook, which is a podcast devoted to chapbooks. So you will have to put that link in there, Ross. Is it on the website so people can get, connected to that podcast?
It's on the Bull City Press website.
Yeah.
So it's under bullcitypress.com.
Okay, good. I'll make sure I'll put that in there, because that would be a good link to have. Teaches creative writing, which is where he's dialing in from, podcasting, publishing, and grammar at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. His poems have appeared or are forthcoming in American Poetry Review, New England Review, Plowshares, Poetry Daily, Tin House, and the Southern Review, among others, many others. With Matthew Olsman, he edited an anthology from the Grind Daily Writing Series. He also has a boutique design firm, Spock and Associates, and a weekly trivia show. See, this is why I said he's so busy. And podcast, Trivia Escape Pod. You can also follow him on Twitter at Ross White. Ross, I'm turning it over to you, and I can't wait to celebrate tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you, Malika. First off, I'm so grateful to be in this community tonight. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. I can't wait to hear all of y'all. I hope everybody in the room except Ruth Eford is going to read poems. Ruth, if you have poems, that's good. Y'all, Ruth is my mother-in-law, and I'm just delighted that she is here. So thank you, Ruth, for being here. And my old friend Christina, I just have to say a giant word of thanks to you, because I think 1 or 2 of these poems wouldn't exist in their current form without your careful eye and your generous heart. And I'm thrilled to see you, friend. And I wish we were together in person, but this is a pretty great night. So yeah, I'm going to read a little from Charm Offensive, if that's all right. And I'm going to start tonight with the first poem, because I really believe that the first poem in a book should tell you a little bit about how the book is to be read. I like too many things to ever be satisfied with one. The giant squid and mountain lion mesmerize me equally, as do other pears. Blackberry and watermelon, puppies and kittens, underbrush and lichen, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, beer and white Russians, turkey and mutton, domestic and foreign, polyester and cotton, dirty laundry and fresh linen, Incas and Mayans, black holes and ions, sensory deprivation and cosmic vision. I am a sort of griffin, head of a wanderer, heart of a dragon, allegiance to neither. So my attention, battered, is often cloven, and I, smitten with a new idea or fascinating button, appear a cretin. But I am unruined. I speak a pidgin, but listen to the origins of the word, a smidgen of Korean, a smidgen of Britain, laden with an unburdened appreciation of living. My written communications have the same enlightened tone if you're bitten with the same or similar affliction, and others often listen as in bewilderment, as though it is Latin to what you consider common sense. Otherwise, I beg your pardon. I could draw it for you in crayon. There is a heaven. In it, all things are in pairs, or triplets, or sevens. So that I feel like, as the intro to the book, that's me telling you I have real bad ADD, right? Like I love all kinds of stuff. But no, like I mentioned, I stay busy. I have a good time with the world. And Charm Offensive is a book that I think is alive to the joys of the world and then sometimes alive to the difficulties of it. But tonight I want to focus on some of those joys. I want to have a little fun. It might go dark in the end. I apologize. We might get a little darker later. But so the next poem I want to read is so this is a book that is definitely grappling with God at times. Um, and not necessarily a Christian God or even a modern God. I think every form of God makes an appearance at some point. Well, not every form because everybody's got their own, but a lot of the different gods show up in this book. And if you're familiar with some of the old gods, you might recognize one or two in this poem. Bad news for mortals in forests. If I could be a god, I too would descend in the form of an eagle, a swan. I too would adopt plumage, lustrous, black, and brilliant, stained in early evening a deep purple, the color of ink under vinegar. I too would be sour. I too would glide over boulders and dunes on violet breezes, interrogating the wind for its secrets. I too would trick my wife into transforming into a fly and swallow her, even if she fashioned in my head not just a suit of armor, but a toy army of mechanical men, the racket and clanging of 1,000 anvils smithing the space between my ears. I too would agree to have my head split upon an axe, if only to see what would spring forth fully formed, though in my case, no daughter would, just 1,000 tin clocks, orderly and automated, ticking away seconds with clenched fists and puckered faces. And on the hours, they would spout tiny copper eagles, bronze swans. I too would return to Olympus, laurel and throne, to await the inevitable moment when I would grow bored with those children, because I too would grow bored. Twilight would send its whispers, its itches, and I would once again take wing. So, thank you, thank you. So for Charm Offensive, this is my first full length book. I'd had a few chapbooks come out, but I thought now is the time. Oh, thank you, Christina. Love you so much. So I was excited, and I thought I'm gonna go on tour. I'm gonna hit the road, and got the chance to book readings up and down the East Coast. I was in Vermont, I was in Detroit, I was in Philly, I was here, I was in Spartanburg. There's nothing south of Spartanburg worth going to, so I didn't go further. But oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry, Charleston. But take that. But I did it all in my car. I converted my Toyota Prius V into a camper. I had a bed back there. I had LED lights and blackout curtains. I had a cooler, and I spent a month on the road. And when I was driving through the Northeast, I realized that up there, they don't do something that we all do down in the South, which is in the South, we know that if we feel great faith, We show it on the back of our car. Here's a poem about that. Believer, affix a fish to your SUV. Jesus is love, but never more so than on the highway, when he delivers us from mid-sized sedans unto our destinations, when he absolves us of our emissions. I want an anti-lock, all-weather Christ to emerge after 3 days in the median. Believer, evangelism requires a little asphalt, a little balm for the road rage of the travelers who passed their injured neighbor before the Good Samaritan gave roadside assistance. I need a Ford tough savior to perform certain miracles, pay the tolls in their wicked plazas, abolish the speed traps in the temple, truck courageous into eternal sunrise. I want Hot Rod Yahweh Jr. to rev the engine of my love for fellow motorists. A love I forget a little more with each on-ramp, every parking lot, anytime someone putters along at 53 on an interstate. May he bless me, Turnpike Christ, as he raises his hands to embrace the long handles of the chopper. May he anoint me in motor oil. Forgive me for buying Japanese. May he learn to love me again after I've taken his name in vain or wished a wreck upon the tailgater. May he make faith easy as a decal and carry me past the overpasses. One set of tread marks screeching safely to halt when there should have been two. I have fun with that. Forgive me for my preacher voice. I had to do it. Y'all. It gives me such joy to get to read that sacrilegious little poem. But I had a blast on the road. And I'm really grateful, Malika, for you creating this space, because I didn't get to go see all my dear friends and loved ones. And some of y'all are here tonight. And I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I really can't. Some of y'all know me from the grind, which is an exercise where you write a poem a day for a month, and you have to, by midnight every night, you got to send it to a small group of people. No comments, nobody. It's not a workshop. It's just accountability. And when you do that process, you're constantly scanning the world like, oh my God, what am I going to write about today? And, the first 6 days of the month, you're like, oh, here are all the poems I felt like writing in the last 3 months when I wasn't really writing. And then on day 7, you're like, oh God, what am I going to write about? But you're like, oh, what I have for breakfast? All right, cool. And then you write 3 breakfast poems in a morning or in 3 days, and you're like, well, okay, that's done. Pretty soon you're like, I will take anything to write about. And you go to whatever news site you read and you just think, what's the weirdest headline possible? I'll write about that today. And on the day that I wrote this particular poem, I sent it out to my little group around 11:50 at night. And I immediately got a message back from my best buddy, Matthew Olsman, saying, damn it, I was trying to write a poem based on this headline and you beat me and yours is better. And I was like, well, if my buddy Matt will say that, then I'm going to keep this one. But are you guys ready for the headline? Because I love this headline. It's from ABC News. Researchers in Wales say they have discovered the world's oldest living creature, a 405-year-old clam. This poem is called Ocean Quahog, which is the type of clam. If you watch Family Guy, it's also the hometown of Peter Griffin. Ocean Quahog. Done counting rings, scientists claim the clam has lived 4 centuries. Poor sod. All that time, he never planned a trip, just mouth open to where the currents took him. That's a long time to lug a home around, but home is where the heart kidney and anus are, wherever the open circulatory system pumps. He deserves credit for persistence, but acknowledge the difficulty of a clam giving up. How would it look any different? Left in his bed in the Arctic deep long enough, undisturbed by shark or squid, living must be the surrender. I told you it might go a little dark on you. Haha, there's the turn. Um, so Charm Offensive came out in the US on July 1st. It had a difficult path to publication. And I like to share this because, I think sometimes we think, oh, that poet, cropped up overnight. Their first book just appeared there. I actually I worked on the book from 2008 to 2012. I finished the book in 2012. In 2016, I was like, well, maybe I'll add 2 more poems that feel like they're part of the collection that I initially thought were part of another collection, but it was essentially done in 2012. And I sent it out. It was rejected 130 times, and I thought this book is never going to happen. And then in 2018, not only was it accepted, it won the Sexton Prize in the UK. So all of a sudden, I was like, haha, my book is coming out. It's finally happening. That was 2018. And then there's, a little something happened in the meantime that may have delayed some publishers. So it finally came out this year. And I'm thrilled about it. But in a lot of ways, y'all, Charm Offensive feels like my old book, right? These poems have been around a long time. And I've always told my students, as soon as you finish your first book, start writing your second book. Don't wait for the first book to be published. Like, in fact, write your second book while you're writing your first book. So I felt like I had to follow up on that advice. And I've actually written 3 chapbooks that were all completed after this full-length manuscript was completed. This book was completed. It was written between 19 and 21. It came out in hardback in 21 and paperback in early 22. So I want to read a few poems from this because I didn't really do many events for this. COVID was in full swing. I had real bad COVID anxiety. I did 1 live event for this and I freaked out so badly. I was like, I'm done. So I haven't shared this book, Valley of Want, with a lot of people, but I'm proud of it. And I designed the cover. So I'm like super proud of it. So I'm going to read a couple poems from Valley of Want, and then I'll come back to Charm Offensive. We're on the internet tonight, so this feels really appropriate. Just real quick show of hands, because I know some of us are like on the internet for readings and Zooms and communities like this, and others of us are on the internet because we're like on Twitter, right? Is anybody here on the internet because like we're on Twitter? Is anybody or Facebook or Blue Sky or whatever? A few of us kind of live on the internet. All right, thank you for sharing that. I think you'll recognize the kind of person who could have written this poem. Performativity. You see me, I know. You eye me. You scan columns of me and rows within the columns. You click photos of me and clock my doings, I know. Gawk at my breakfasts. Peep me. Load me to get a load of my most recent outsized feeling. A rail against injustice? A barb toward the president, a hint of unnamed sickness I let slip. Oh God, it's exhausting showing all this. I know you, empath, so hard. Tap like or heart to project your regard for my bravery, necessary to dole out like scoops on a cone the harm befalling me daily. I know you strength me. You sorry that happened me. You sending a hug me. It's never enough to shutter the factory. Inside me is industry, manufacturing miseries. Your clicks the coal, your eyes the turbines. You engine me, assembly me, repackage and label me, distribute me. Where once the world brambled me, the tear not so deep, no more than a scratch. You salve the wound with oils and honey and milk and sometimes well-intentioned salt and hashtags and bravery, bravery, bravery. Do you guys remember that moment on Twitter where no matter what anyone said, they could be like, I stubbed my toe today against my cabinet, and people would be like, you're so brave for sharing your story. I mean, sometimes it was true, but it got tired, it got old real fast. We've overused bravery as a word. It's not that hard to get on Twitter and complain, y'all. It doesn't require any bravery at all. All right. Any Dorian Locks fans in the room? Do people like Dorian Locks? Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, Karen, your response is the correct response. Can you guys see Karen right now? I put you guys back on gallery so I could see your faces. And yeah, Karen, I'm with you. I'm with you, friend. I love Dorian Locks. Whenever you love a poet, you're going to try to steal from him. So, of course, I stole from Dorian. Expert advice for living a full and happy life. Get drunk every day. Punch a wall every day. Throw rocks every day. Rocks at squirrels and mice. Steal something every day. At least that's what Dorian Locks said. Something small and hopeful. Play poker every day. Gamble away a fortune every day. Make something terrible every day with your hands. Not violent, mind you, but terrible. The kind of bad parents hang on refrigerators. The kind of bad that cracks in a middle school kiln. Throw up every day. Shoot a rifle at the constellations every day. Accuse them of being too close. They are, those stars, too close. They see something in you no terrestrial body can see. But it's there, in you, because you feel it every day. Do what you can to suppress that part of yourself. And if it must come out, channel it into wickedness that hurts no one but you. Victimless crimes, they'll call what you do. Isn't it lovely to not have a victim? To not be a victim? Get wise every day. Feed the cat every day. Fold laundry every day, even the fitted sheets. Send a postcard or a text to a friend every day with a dumb platitude or a rude drawing. See how long you can make the cat believe you're a good person. Then your boss, your wife, your yoga teacher, your priest. Chain the days together like days without an accident. Red X's on a calendar until they number in the hundreds, the thousands. Get old every day. Do your stretching, take your statins, trim your nose or ear hairs every day. You'll die from it, all of it, but no one will tell you that you can't. Can't die like that. Look in the mirror every day and dismiss all that horrible. All that horrible. You can see it. The constellations can smell it on you. The squirrels and mice know. The rats. All right, one more from this book. And I'm gonna, Christina, can I let you choose? Do you want a really short poem, or do you want a short poem with a video game in it? Oh, I don't know if she can turn her volume on.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
A video game, please.
Video game. All right. I got you. This is called Self-Portrait with Single Malt Scotch and Guitar Hero. Alternately, self-portrait on a Wednesday night. Alternately, this keeps me from engaging with a friend who continually disappoints me. Alternately, I hardly leave my basement. Alternately, the soft forest of carpet beneath my bare feet will suffice as refuge. Alternately, if I could shrink myself and wander its great fibrous oaks, I might never regret solitude. Alternately, self-portrait with thunder in my bones. Alternately, I got into an argument over drowning, and whether a drowning man's twitch might be misconstrued as dancing, to which I replied, clearly you've never seen dancing. To which she replied, clearly you've never seen a man drown. To which I replied, I have, and I'm him now. All right. Malika, do I have time for maybe two more from Charm Offensive? I don't want to go over time because I want to hear everybody read.
You have time. We are having a blast.
Okay. I'm gonna do two more. I cannot wait to hear y'all read. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled. And again, thank you. Oh my God, thank y'all for letting me be part of this community. I'm really honored. I'm really delighted. Let's see here. Okay. So look, y'all, I mentioned A, that it's kind of a God book, and I mentioned that B, it was finished in 2012. I added 2 poems in 2016. This is not one. Hold on, I'm gonna get a sip of water. Knocked my power cord out. So this is a poem from back in 2012, I think. And remember, the book was accepted in 2018, so it's only out now. Sometimes when you have a long wait for publication, the meaning of the work changes a little bit with time. And I'm going to go ahead and guess. I think you'll be able to see the ways in which the meaning of this next poem changed with time. I know what love is. What if the angels, with their conch-shaped trumpets, their dainty bows and arrows, don't really give a shit about us? What if they gather in heavenly circles at the mouth of the clouds to stare down on field mice, on ferrets, on millipedes? We think angels take human shape because our ancestors painted them that way. But those were the same ancestors who toiled through the dark ages, who took a long damn time to discern that the heart wasn't the seat of intelligence. I'd say they suffered at times from a lack of imagination. Sure, they fashioned rocks into the tips of spears. Sure, they managed some empires. And sure, they figured out which knotweeds would dye the wool, which berries would pigment the oils. Make, if you want, a case for human ingenuity, but I vote against us when it comes to knowledge of the divine. In Chronicles, God sends an angel to slaughter the Assyrian army. In Numbers, he opens chasms to swallow the defiant. He burns with holy fire those gathered in worship. He sets a plague on 14,000. Imagine writing those words, thinking, yes, this is the God who loves me. I don't think he much cares about us. I think the next tornado, the next tsunami, the next antibiotic resistant strain will be whimsy and afterthought. I think he's the god of rats, the god of ticks, surrounded in heaven by legions of slim thoraxed angels flapping swallowtail wings, spitting venom into each other's many prismed eyes. I think he's created the virus in his own image, and he loves the virus enough to create an endlessly adaptable food source for it that also serves as a means of conveyance.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I felt like a right asshole when the book came out. Like, our perspective has changed a little bit. Yeah, so if anybody's like looking to place blame, I know some people were like, it's a lab in Wuhan. It might be my fault. I might have pissed off the guy upstairs. I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't know. Yikes. So yeah, my relationship to that poem has changed. But yeah, still asking that question. Still asking that question all the time. One more. And again, thank you for listening. Real quick, show of hands. Any fans of Bridget Pegeen Kelly in the room? Anybody love Bridget's work? Yeah, a couple of us. Good. If you don't know Bridget's work, she passed a few years back, and I I only met Bridget once. I served her coffee. So I didn't. This is not someone who's a dear friend. But her poems to me were. I mean, her poems are some of my dearest friends, and I ache all the time that we won't have more of Bridget's work in the world. I hope you'll find the book Song, because it is maybe the finest book ever written in the English language. And of course, if you love something, you'll try to steal from it, which I've done. But you'll be talking back, and I hope that I have done service to Bridget in this poem. I don't think I have, but I think it's the closest I'll ever get. And it borrows her image, two swans, after Bridget Pegeen Kelly. I am keeping very still, my pants hiked, my socks rolled down over the mouth of my sneakers, so limb leads can read my heart at an angle. Shirtless, pressed flat to paper pulled over the creaky plastic exam table. The leads on my chest pump electrical information to the EKG machine for interpretation. The nurse says, "You seem a little anxious." And I am. But how can she tell? I am keeping very still. The physician's assistant says, "Try thinking of something you enjoy." But I can't seem to think of anything. A picture on the wall displays a proud, healthy cartoon heart, bloodless and stripped of its ventricles. I am thinking of swans. I don't enjoy swans, but here they are, too, in the mental picture I'm supposed to calm myself with, gliding towards each other on a flat lake, a lake whose surface doesn't crease for ripples, so calm that it might as well be ice, until they almost meet. And in the negative space between them, their craned necks form the outline of a heart, a healthy cartoon heart. I am keeping very still. I was told electrocardiograms require stillness for an accurate reading. Sudden movement would upset the machine. Sudden movement would scare away the swans. Aside from breathing, I haven't moved an inch. I am reminding myself that I have to breathe, that breathing does not preclude stillness, that I was told to keep
My
very
son-in-law is still reading his poems, but he's
I
almost
am
done.
keeping very still. Makes a squeak sound,
Network trailers. What
and
is
another.
it's an avocado.
I tell myself not to be humiliated, but I'm always humiliated with my shirt off, this white belly. I've resorted to jokes with my wife. There's a baby kangaroo in this pouch I got, or Blackbeard hid his treasure here, but you can't dig it out till I'm dead. What are those leads digging out of me and sending back for analysis? I am keeping very still, hoping keeping still won't be a permanent condition. There's someone outside the exam room. I can hear the scrape of chart against door. I know the light streaming in the crack under the door is now broken by 2 feet. I have looked at light under enough exam room doors to recognize that break. Someone standing, chart in hand, thinking about coming in, thinking, again? This poor bastard? I would crane my neck to see his feet's twin shadows, but I am keeping very still. I am thinking of swans. I am thinking of a dead doe's legs upturned, the white of her bloating belly appearing at a distance to be 2 swans. No, not dead, just a doe, upturned and still. That's it, the nurse says. I can get up, can dress, can wait, can watch the twin shadows come, pause, go. That's it, a new doctor, the last set of shadows says. I'm fine. I can put on my coat and go home, can skip admit on the way out. The printouts from the EKG machine, drawings in an unsteady hand, are the downward strokes of a feather, a clumsy attempt at a wing, and all that peaceful white space? 2 swans stuck in ice. I can go now. I can get off the table. But I can't. I don't. I am keeping very still. Thank you.
Oh, Ross, what a poem to end on. If people want to unmute, feel free. Holy smokes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Mm,
going to take us a minute.
wow.
I love the poems that you chose to read. It was wonderful to have your voice reading them. You're going to have such a fun time with the chat section because, Ross, we were, wow, busy with comments. And so many of us put the same lines up at
Yes.
the same time. I was like, oh, yeah, of course you like that one too. You know, I think what's overwhelming is that the language of the poems is so delicious, and the way that the word choices speak to each other, the creative nature of the poems, and then the powerful images within the poems. Yeah. Somebody, I love what you wrote here, Regina, a powerful and tender way to end. Yeah, that was a lovely poem. People have questions. I didn't see any come up in the chat section. So if you do, just unmute. We're relaxed here. You're welcome just to jump in.
I just want to say I'm gobsmacked at the emotional range. I mean, some of it is just so over the top, ridiculous and funny, but real. There's something in there. And then that last poem, I spent most of last year in and around hospitals, and my goodness, it's so accurate. So accurate. And I wouldn't have known how to start describing that. That's just, wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I used to tell writers when I was working, write the way you talk. And I like the way you talk. I just really enjoyed this tremendously. And I got here late, so I'm looking forward to seeing the recording and getting to watch them again.
That's awesome, Donna. There was something that Shamala, you had written in response to one of the poems that Ross read, and I really wanted to come back to it because that's when you first started saying something about like I'm just at a loss. I'm seeing if I can find it, but I could tell right then you were already really taken with the range of motion.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous.
I just wanted to add, I admire the poignancy and the vulnerability that is inside your humor and your irony. So it's craft and substance in a wonderful dance.
Oh, thank you, Juan. I love that craft and
Yeah.
such a wonderful dance.
Thank you, Juan.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I did want to hear about the cover of Valley of Want. I wanted you to go back to that because you said, yeah, so fabulous. And you created that.
Thank you. So I just did the design. The octopus, the pink paint, that's a sculptor in Bulgaria. I'm sorry, Romania, named Stefan Irski. Nope, I've got his name wrong. It's oh god, I'm gonna find it. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put a
Perfect.
link to
Perfect.
his work in the chat. He's amazing, and he's got these beautiful pieces that use paint dripping. And I knew I wanted something. I knew I wanted some pink, but I also knew I wanted something monstrous, and like his sculpture was
Great.
perfect. So I just did the design around it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was curious how you created that, and I wanted to hear the backstory with that one. And then, of course, the new book, which we can't hold up the cover, which I'm mad about. But go look at Charm Offensive. It's a fabulous cover. I wanted to ask about that one too. Did you have input with that?
I didn't. So when I won the Sexton Prize, I won with another winner, and her book came out before mine did, and I didn't love the cover. And so I was like, oh, and I asked the press, I was like, well, could I design my own cover? I do some book design, and they said, sure, take a shot at it. And I sent them these covers that were like, it was all people who were like covered in oil or covered in fabric and like obscured. And I didn't know at the time. I realized later I was sending them just a visual record of my insecurities about the book. And they were like, thanks. We're going to have our designer take a shot at it now. And I was like, uh-oh. And so then they sent me this email. They're like, here is your cover. Not like, here are some options to choose from, but like, here is your cover. And so I'm opening it with this terrible trepidation. But years before I got really serious about writing poems, I tried to be a painter because I love the feeling of putting paint on a canvas, but I failed at it really badly because I don't have a good visual vocabulary, and I could make words for things that weren't there, but I couldn't make images for things that didn't exist, that I didn't have a reference for. And so the only painting I ever successfully completed, and I painted actually like five different paintings of this, was a shark in a suit. Like that was a thing I could visualize, but I never told the press that. So the day I got this email and opened the cover, I was like, oh my God, they've seen inside me. Because that image is not in the book. I had never shared this with them. Their designer and I never talked. I never sent like, here's what I would want other than my covers, which I don't think they shared with their designer. He just like, he found me.
Loved it.
It was the most amazing thing. And I love this. I think this is the greatest cover of a book ever. I can't believe I got it. I mean, like,
that's why I wondered if you had input, because it seems uniquely you. I just assumed that you had an input. That's
not a lick. Yeah. Yeah. An
that's fabulous.
amazing designer. Edwin Smith, he designed the interior of the book as well. He is a gift to the world. Because I've seen some of his other designs. He's just incredible, but boy, he found me. He found me, and I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you for that backstory. That is fabulous. I also deeply appreciate talking about how the book, that you had sent it out and sent it out and sent it out. I think a lot of us need to hear things like that, because it is a lonely thing of sending out into the world and receiving back, nope, not, and to keep going. I think it helps to have a community that says, yes, this is what I did too, and I feel you, and keep going. So thank you.
Well, no, thank you, because I know that this space is keeping some of us writing, and it's so valuable that we have these spaces to check back in with. Christina was one of those people who kept me writing. Ruth encouraged me at every step. I mean, and I think Ruth heard me say a few times, like, I don't know if I'm any good at this. And she was always there to say that she showed me unconditional love and support. I know not everybody's in-laws are that way, so I'm super lucky that my community buoyed me when I lost faith at times, and I did lose faith at times, and they would not let me stop, and I owe them big for that.
And I'm glad they're here to see you celebrate. Oh, that's awesome. Did I miss anybody that had a question or a comment?
I'd like to know which book the poem about God was in, the one that said, I think he created the virus in his image. I just really plugged into this poem. Which book is that?
That's in Charm Offensive. So I'm
sorry, say the name again.
Charm Offensive.
Okay.
And to get the book, you can go to rosswhite.com. I'll put the link in there again. To his website. Just got a new whole package of books, so you will get it before it sells out again. Pretty sure that's going to happen, Ross.
Oh, I hope so. I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, me too.
What's wrong? What's
Stay-
What's wrong?
Karen? I can't tell if she had a question. Well, if we don't have any more questions or comments, can we take a minute to say thanks again, Ross, for coming and taking time out of your week to read. It was just everything I hoped for. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much. I can't wait to hear y'all read. I'm just delighted, and I'm gonna go look for the name of the sculptor who did Valley of
Oh,
Wonder.
I think
I put it in the chat.
I was going to say Shamala beat you to it. Stefan Ersky, EERS.
No, I've got it wrong. I've screwed it up. I'll find it for you. I'm gonna find it.
Okay. Oh, good. Awesome. It'd be good to have that in there. So I am going to quickly I think the best way to do it is I have just Susanna's name written down for open mic, and what we can do is just raise your hand and we'll make the rounds, guys. And now I got Regina. Oh, good. And
I'll
Karen
read.
And I'll read.
Al, Catherine, Christy.
Yeah, I'll read.
Okay, Donna. I read your list. You said yes?
Yeah, I've got a vacuum cleaner in the background, but yeah.
No worries.
I'll read too, Malika, if there's room.
Fabulous. We would love to. This will be a preview because Juan is going to be celebrating with us too. And not only that, him and his wife at some point will be doing one. All right. So I'll start with Susanna. Coming to you.
Okay. Thank you, Malika, and thank you, Ross. That was very interesting reading, and I love the style that you read in. It's fabulous. And since you did a couple of homage poems, I thought I would do one of mine, which is from my new book. I'm also going to be here with a friend of mine in December who also has a new book. I don't remember the date, but anyway, this is from If This Isn't Love, and the title is Frank O'Hara tells the mothers of America to let their kids go to the movies. My mother half obeyed, said okay, but only every other week. That had more to do with a belief in fresh air than a revolt against content, but it meant I missed the Blob until the remake. What I did get to see was two women, after having to stick out my chest and lie about my age to a dubious matron who decided not to care. Two women, the movie in which after her rape, a girl's hair suddenly was longer, a filmmaking error. Don't worry, the creep was killed. Even in the fertile hills of Italia, women were traumatized and hungry. De Sica. Or was it Carlo Ponti, the reason that in every scene with Sophia Loren, which was almost every scene in the film, her makeup was perfect? I bet it was Ponti, who so publicly loved her. Everybody loved Sophia Loren and still loves her. I loved her so much I barely noticed Jean-Paul Belmondo with his intellectual communism, so romantic in a man. Only later did I fall in love with him. I wanted to grow up with breasts like Sophia's, preferably in Lazio, not Queens, New York. Even more, I wanted to learn how to fight for myself, like Sophia did, in the midst of all the deprivations of wartime. Of course, Frank O'Hara was right. Kids need to see lots of movies. How else will girls learn what it takes? Thank you.
Very good. Okay.
I'm sitting here talking to Sean, so I was muted. I was saying, oh, Susanna, I can't wait till December. Oh, you always slay me with your poems. Thank you.
Thank you.
Regina, I'm coming to you next, and let's see if I can make it through the next 30 minutes without totally falling apart because I'm just gobsmacked.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay.
Hello.
So Susanna started with an homage. So I'm going to go on to something that I wrote very recently. It's an ode. To write an ode. So I think it's appropriate for this evening. I thank you, Ross, for that wonderful reading. And I just thank all of you for being here. You don't know how much I look forward to Thursday nights. So along that vein, this is Ode to the Gathering. In times ancient, past, present, to come, the gathering has always been, will be, assembled to ease troubled minds, broken hearts, fear of failure, dread of death. And yet, conversely, it has led in the rejoicing of victory, the welcome of newness, the building of hope, the breaking of bread, the insisting of justice, the giving of mercy. Yea, in times of breaking hard earth and crossing rugged terrain, the concept of just the one cannot provide refrain or clear the land with singular plow, or stand watch alone day and night, or celebrate with self-same vigor the victory of the righteous outcome. We give praise for the gathering. For it is in our despair, when this world has turned before our very eyes, we have been uplifted by the unexpected arms of people who care and have come to share words of sage wisdom, warm bread, commiserative hearts, a leg up, a hand holding, a ring around, a gathering. Praise for the gathering. Not for the clamoring mob, not the evil conspirators, not for the closed door coven. Praise for the righteous gathering. The ancestors ring dancing in the clearings, the unnamed gods who gathered us in, moved us from one way station to the next. Praise to the gathering. Those who are here, linked in mission to bring in greater, to voice the voiceless, to frame the fight, to be our army of seconds. Praise to the gathering. Those here or in the sky, twinkling in our by and by, the gathering of angels and orishas, the great cloud of witnesses, those with me and those with you here today, those in this room. Praise to the gathering, spirit sent gathering, great God, the gathering. This is my ode to the gathering. Praise be, praise be. Praise be. Thank you. You can't hear you, Malika.
Again.
You did it again.
So, Regina, love it. It was the giving of mercy, just beautiful. I want to come to the gathering. Any gathering you're doing, I'm there. Karen, I'm coming to you. I hope the puppy's behaving.
Okay, fingers crossed on that. Yeah. Okay, so this is a poem in response to a Mike James poem that was called Instructions to the Artist. And I wasn't going to read this tonight, but it just kind of had, I don't know, Ross's, the tone in some of his poems. I was like, all right, I'm going to try this one. Mike's poem is basically a list poem, instructions to an artist with just all kinds of bizarro stuff. So I just kind of responded to his bizarre here in response to instructions to the artist. Okay. I'll claim artist as title. I'm owning it. The title of your poem has enticed me. I'm using a disposable wooden knife as a bookmark. Why would anyone dispose of such a thing? I can't tell a joke. I feel like I'm a poser. I'm not even an impractical joker. I tell people that my head has to be this big in order to hold so much knowledge and wit and a little bit of self-deprecation. I love owning in the previously pondered books of strangers the embellishment of marginalia, the underlines, arrows, the cryptic cursive smear of graphite, the dog ears, the fade of the ink. I gave notice and left a job once and received cards and a philodendron. I've been rooting and planting the philodendron's cuttings for 30 years now and giving them as gifts. I have kept the one card that says butterflies are free. Philodendrons are apparently immortal. Hot tea, please. Yes, all of them. I have rented many windows. Water is a clear choice. There's no need to know where the switches are if you carry the light within you. How could I not save the letters I've received? How could I get back a few that I've sent? A filled tub is for breathing in. Breathing in. You don't know how to take that, do you? Answer deeply with eyes closed. Isn't it funny that extraordinary is the opposite of extraordinary and that be mystic has opposing definitions? My legs want to be wings. Air is so much easier than earth. If you save what was too much to eat in one sitting and want to share it with me, that's an honor. Metaphorical or not, I'm all in. That's it.
Karen, I adore you. And this time I kept myself unmuted because I knew I was going to do it again. Y'all are knocking me. Freaking, this is why our open mics are fire. I think people knew this, but you're being reminded why. Thank you. Cal, coming to you.
Okay. Okay, this is called stop time. And it's a term used in jazz when a chord is played only at the first beat. To freeze time, a sculpture in a courtyard, a flower pressed in a book, a butterfly flattened behind glass. Why can't we see these things without stopping them? Like particles, we can't throw light on without changing by a photon's reflection. Do we make them physical when we stop addressing them as points in a flow, missing certain coordinates, the folded in dimensions? We press things flat to understand. The smallest bits allowed in our philosophy of science. We call them probabilities, not even a thing we can hold. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal. We press things flat to understand. Oh, that's awesome. Catherine, I see you now. I'm coming your way.
Okay, unmuted. Mine's a short poem. But I want to say, Ross, I enjoyed so much your writing, and I can't wait to read the book. And Regina, I wanted to scream amen at the end of yours. That's good. And I'm glad to be here Thursday nights now as well. Okay, this is called Artist Date. My artist date is with this tree, sitting here in this tree. I am jealous now of ants who climb to the highest point, the highest leaf, Do they know how lucky they are? A turtle peers up at me from the lake below. The heron continues its pirouetted flights from one end of the lake to the other. The osprey dives and rises, prey in his talons. The wind changes the pattern of ripples on the water. But in this tree, I will not falter. It is secure, strong. There is nothing flimsy about this tree and its connection with me.
Oh, gorgeous.
Eh.
Yeah, I'm jealous now of ants. There's quite a few comments. Remember when you read for open mic to please check the comment section because you'll want to
Okay.
see.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Christy, I'm coming your way.
Okay, I'm gonna put me back on gallery so I'm not staring at my head. I've never read this one to an audience, but I like this one and I'm reading it here because it's been rejected 8 times. So what better place than Redheaded Stepchild? And I just want to say that this is about a sometimes drama queen. And if you don't know a drama queen, you are your drama queen. So here we go. Mercurial Mona's rainy day. Mercurial Mona is in the midst of a most melancholy misery. It's raining. She opened her umbrella 6 seconds before the door from inside to out had officially closed. Standing on the sidewalk just beyond her now cursed office building, Mona marvels at strange passersby who on any other day would be considered interlopers in her world. They laugh and walk away as she begs for participants in her 3-winged bat chant to ward off her superstitions. Miss Mahoney, from her second favorite delicatessen, offers vulgar sign language to decline her request. Mona is stunned. When did Miss Mahoney lose her hearing? And who taught her how to sign? If only Miss Pitterpat were waiting for her. But her bi-monthly fluff and spritz at the Cool Kitty Karma Kennel won't end until day after tomorrow. If she were home, the cat's meow toy would do the trick. 2 friends chasing an as seen on TV mouse can erase more bad juju than any 3-winged bat chanting session ever could. Maybe her boyfriend will be waiting, flowers in hand as she arrives home. Movie magic juju is a hot fudge caramel luck-filled brownie on steroids. Pulling into the driveway, Mona is instantly affronted. He's not waiting for her with bated breath. She'll have to open her own car door. Once inside, she finds him reading icky political jibber-jabber. She opens her purse, letting her fingers glide to the lonely lighter, lying unfulfilled from a day of ignored cigarettes. Making her way to the bathroom, Mona returns with a half-full can of hairspray. 2 long sprays trail in the air as metal grinders strike flint. Hello, St. Elmo's fire. The smell of Mona's singed eyebrows halt the scene. He glances up from his almost finished read. Hi, honey, what's for dinner? Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Oh, you guys are fun. Donna, I'm coming to you. Let me see if I can find you, and I see you.
Okay, I visited my mother yesterday. She had gotten out of the hospital. She's 93, and she'd gotten out of the hospital with a bad case of COVID. So she is back at her assisted living now. But I needed to process the visit somehow. So this morning I wrote a high bond. And so this one's sort of a draft right now. It's called Leaving Her Behind. Every Saturday for years, I took my mother to the Waffle House for breakfast. This visit today, after months of absence, I find her awake in a wheelchair. Good morning, Mom. She doesn't know me. It's me, Donna, your daughter. I brought you this waffle, a necklace made years ago by your sister Kitty. She remembers her sister. She remembers the necklace. She's forgotten her daughter. What she doesn't remember, Kitty died in 96. Excited, she asks, have you seen her? I tell myself it's not a lie. A long time ago, I say, knowing that will make her happy for a moment. Undisturbed, she dips the waffle in syrup. Black fabric beads, dull, tarnished connections.
Wow. No, thank you.
She's had dementia for a long, long time, but you know, this visit was shocking to me when she didn't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I get the processing. I mean, I think a lot of us have a relationship with poems that, you know, is kind of that pathway through.
Yep.
Julian, I'm coming to you next, and then I'm ending with Shamala. If I've missed anybody, please send me a message or raise your hand, because it is clearly, if I can't even unmute myself today, we're talking high functioning. Julian, I don't see that you're muted, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Okay. This is in honor of Malika's Fear of Heights, also mine, I guess. It's called High Wire Man, and it's the first poem in a little chapbook I published years and years ago. High Wire Man. He starts at dawn. From a hill above a tiny French village, a wire stretches up over cottages, party-colored, harlequinesque, a single steeple, tall beeches sway. He walks at first like a tumbler, leaping and changing his feet, turning cartwheels about the pole that balances. One false turn, but he catches himself last instant before dead weight, and then the long stride over the landscape, each step centered afresh. Do we really hope he falls? Isn't it the overcoming that thrills? Each step an overcoming, not of death, but of something like slavery, on the wire to fall beyond shame. We imagine fear, broken bones, and agony, death of deaths by violence. But ask him, and he'll tell you he was at home on the wire. Think of the think of the pole, the balancing, the purity of it. Any life he loses isn't his own. From his heart stretches another wire, tugging towards the hard planet. What he risks is loss of height. But in the end, the heart implodes. Wires run to ground over a little stile. Step foot in a field of folk. We cheer and weep. Ask, and he'll tell you he was at home on the wire. Thanks.
Julian, wow. Isn't the overcoming that thrills? Isn't it the overcoming that thrills? That was amazing. And I didn't realize I was in good company with a fear of heights. That Susanna and Julian and I are all saying, yep, that's a thing. Shamala.
That's a thing.
Yeah. I'm glad to know I'm in good company. Shamala.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. I just want to say before I read, I don't know if poets release audio tracks, but it would be so fun to hear some of Ross's reading on an audio track, and Regina, that thing that you read, if I could hear it every day before my quiet time, I would be blessed. It's, yeah. Okay, this is called Ice Skater. I see you, trembling on sharp blades, over a surface of unsettling, brilliant white. You don't even know how to put the shoes on right. Rubber slippers were enough for where you came from. Growing up, walking beside salt sweet surf under coconut trees, and smelling bougainvillea and jasmine in your mother's garden. Thinking about dinner. You'll have all your favorite things at home. Your mother knows what they are. Along the way, you would buy a coffee, foaming cream and hot, from a tin-roofed shack lighted only by a kerosene lamp, while mosquitoes feed on the salt-sweet sweat around your ankles, and you nibble on a jalebi as rich oil oozes onto your fingers. But now you have cold ankles in a cold country, and you're trying to skate. But what if the ice breaks? That's it.
Wow. Very tactile poem.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah. Cold ankles in a cold country. That stuck with me as well. Thank you all so very much. Ross, thank you for celebrating. Yeah, just amazing. And once again, great being in your good company. Thanks for making my Thursday, people. And I look forward, we get to celebrate again next week. I'll put up a list of what's coming so that people can have, because we're booked until April. So I'll get that out to everybody. Thanks, guys. Be well.
Right.